Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 24th October 2025. So before getting started, I want to make a small announcement. We in our academy, we are going to launch new prelims cum mains foundation batch from tomorrow. And if you want to take individual module for only ethics, we are providing that for this time. So from tomorrow onwards, ethics classes are going to be started in our academy. And at 5 p.m. tomorrow, we have orientation session on this ethics classes. So if you want, you can attend. So please do register for that. We are providing the registration link in the description box. You can attend both on online and offline, guys. Okay, now let us see the important topics. First of all, let us see the topics of the day. So the first important topic is US sanctions Russian oil, Indian refineries poised to cut imports. So this article is saying that US is imposing sanctions on two important oil companies of Russia. Because of that, here Indian refineries, they are also going to cut our Indian imports from this Russia. So this article is important from your international relations from GS paper 2. Our next topic is literacy helped Kerala lead in development indices, says our president. Our president gave a statement that because of this Kerala's focus on literacy, that helped to lead in most of the development indices. And this topic is important from your governance. And there is one small image regarding this Pokali rice is seen in today's newspaper. So you have to know some details regarding this Pokali rice. It is very important from your geography and even economy also because it got GI indication tag. And next topic is India Bhutan review security cooperation border management. So this article is about India Bhutan relations, which is important from your international relations. And next topic it is about synthetic media. You know, in yesterday's class we discussed that government came up with increased increased mandatory rules on uploading of AI or genetic that is synthetic data in social media platforms. So this article is talking about that. And next topic is the United Nations matter as a symbol of possibility. So this article is talking about 80 years of formation of United Nations. What are the success and as well as what are the challenges it is facing. And this topic is important from your GS paper to under international relations. And next topic is how do monsoons affect Tamil Nadu? So actually northeastern monsoon started. So because of this Tamil Nadu is getting heavy rains and most of the paper is covered with this floods related to this northeastern monsoon in Tamil Nadu. So this topic is important from your geography from GS paper 1. So these are the topics of the day that we are going to discuss in this class. Yes, look at this first article, guys. Read out the title and tell me the keywords. Online students, please tell me the keywords. US sanctions, Russian oil, Indian refineries poised to cut imports. So this article is saying about sanctions on Russian oil, right? Okay, so in this article we have to see about three countries, guys. First one is US, second one is Russia, and third one is India. Okay, now if you see what is the relationship between Russia and India is, Russia is all-weather friend of our country. So in 1960s, during this Cold War time, two power blocks were formed. On one side USA, on another side USSR. At that time, India came up with this concept called as NAM, non-alignment movement. That means we don't want to align with US or Russia. But even though India tilted towards this USSR, guys. Why? Because USSR supported India in many ways during different wars, like 1962 war, 1965 war. Also, USSR supported India at that time, even though USA rejected our Indian related needs, but USSR supported that. And from Russia, even today we are getting our crude oil and we are getting our especially defense technology related equipments, right? And even Russia is supporting India in this United Nations Security Council in many international platforms. Yes, Russia is supporting India even today. And Russia is providing what? Oil at a discounted price. So we are getting our oil at a discounted price from this Russia. So because of this, we gradually increased our imports of oil from this Russia. So now if you see, we are getting our 40% of our oil imports from this Russia, guys. Normally, India used to get oil from this West Asian countries, especially Gulf countries, Arab countries are very rich in this oil. So we used to get from there. But what happened? We used to get oil from Iran also. But again, US imposed tariffs or sanctions on countries which are doing trade with Iran under JCPOA, Joint Plan of Comprehensive Action. Under this JCPOA, US imposed tariffs and sanctions on Iran. So because of this, what we did, because of this fear of sanctions, India made zero imports from Iran. So after that, India diverted its imports of oil from Iran to USA, to Russia now. Okay, now we are getting around 40% of oil. Okay, so now what is the story? Present story is US said that the countries which are importing oil and gas from this Russia, they have to reduce their imports. Why they have to reduce their imports? So here US is saying only one thing. So because of this Russia which is exporting oil and energy to other countries, so after exporting they will be getting money in return, right? So that money is fueling this Russia-Ukraine war. Now, only one thing that USA is saying here is, so if we are cutting finances of Russia, we can stop this Russia-Ukraine war. So because of this, USA is imposing sanctions on the countries which are importing oil from this Russia. So recently, US came up with one act called as Russia Sanction Act of 2025, and based on this, US is imposing 50% of tariffs on Indian goods to discourage Indians oil imports, guys. Okay, now US came up with one more new step. That new step is US directly imposing now sanctions on two important oil companies of Russia. Okay, not only this, and even US banned payment systems in dollar in Russia. So because of this, what happened? Now it will be very difficult for the countries which are buying this oil or gas from Russia to pay back the money. So because of this, what happened? Obviously, there will be decreasing of imports of this oil and energy from Russia. So these are the series of the things which happen now. Okay. So now you have to think that yes, now US is imposing directly sanctions on these Russian oil companies. And even one more thing which happened here is because of the steps taken by this US sanctioning on Russian oil companies and even payment system disturbances, that led to 3% of increase of oil price in the market. Okay, now you have to think what will be the impact of this US sanctions on these Russian oil companies on India and as well as across the globe. Because oil is very important for any country to maintain their energy security. Now it is hitting that. So here it is going to have impact on entire world and as well as India. And one more thing I want to say here is India is importing 40% of oil, and the second largest importer of this crude oil from Russia is China. And even USA is asking now China to decrease imports from this Russia, guys. Okay, India and Russia, they are two largest populous countries in the world, and they require more energy to maintain energy security. More oil they require, right? So if these two countries are reducing their oil imports from Russia, what is the future impact? So in this way you have to think, guys. Clear? Okay, now let us see this article in detail. And actually, this article is important from your economy because energy security. It is important from international relations. Okay, and it is also going to have impact on the society. Why society? Even whenever there is 1 rupee or 0.5 or like 50 pies increase of oil price, that is diesel or petrol price, will be having impact on society, right? And if there is increased prices of this crude oil, obviously transportation cost increases, that will lead to increasing of overall prices in the prices of the goods and goods and service in the market, that will lead to inflation, right? So that will be having overall increased impact on entire our Indian society. So from all these subjects, we have to see this, guys. So if you say context, it is saying that US President Donald Trump hit Russia's two biggest oil companies with sanctions. So, so because of that, what happened? That led to increased global oil prices by 3%. 3% increase of global oil prices. Okay, you have to make that company's name, guys. You may get prelims based question. Please make a note. Those two important oil companies are, the first one is Rosneft, Rosneft, Rosneft. Next one is Lukoil, Lukoil, Lukoil. Okay, on these two companies, they impose sanctions. So how can you get a question? Recently, Rosneft and Lukoil are seen in news. What are they? Simple, but in examination hall, they will give butterfly species, or like regions affected by disaster. Recently, earthquake happened in this region. So like that, they will be giving you confused statements. Okay. So this Rosneft and Lukoil, they are Russian biggest oil companies on which US started imposing sanctions. Okay. Now let us see what is the impact of this move. The first one here is import disruption. So because of 3% of increased global oil prices, what happens? It will lead to the decreasing of import of this crude oil. So because of this just 3% of increase in this global oil prices, it may lead to 35 to 36% of decrease of overall imports from Russia. And this one here is they are also coming up with this payment challenges. So most of these oil payments, they will occur in this US dollars. Okay, whenever the trade is happening between Russia and other countries regarding oil or gas, the payment will happen in this dollars. So now what happened? There is because of this threat of secondary sanctions, they have to now use alternate currencies for the payment system. So it will be like very difficult for this trade. And next one here is obviously that will leads to increasing of global oil prices. And if you see what is exactly the impact on India, the first one here is this move could ease past US-India tensions over New Delhi's Russian oil purchases. So what happens if there is increasing of global oil price? If there is increased sanctions on these companies directly, now India can reduce oil imports. So if India is reducing oil imports, what happens? We can normalize our relations with USA. That is one impact. And next one here is reduced imports may weaken. What happens on another side? Indian-Russian relations will be getting changed. On one side, India-US relations will get better. On one side, India-Russia relations will be getting strained. And next one is what about our energy security? We can't maintain energy security now because we have to go for diversification of our import of crude oil from other country. And now, will they give oil at the discounted price as does Russia do? No. Again, that will lead to increasing of oil prices in India. Then what happens? Overall transportation cost increases, overall price of goods and services increases. That will lead to inflation in our country. And we have to pay back, right? That may also lead to increase a trade deficit. Already we are having this much. Whatever that is needed, we already have. That will lead to furthermore increasing of trade deficit. Okay? Yeah. And what are the broader economic implications on economy also? There will be alteration of trade between the countries. And this one is inflation, physical deficit. And even actually whatever the refineries which are working in India, they are like private mostly. So private will be focusing on profit. Yes or no? So if they want to go for diversification of oil and if they want to pay more amount means their profits will be reduced. So because of this refineries can be like this refinery industry can be stalled. There will be decreased growth in these refineries. So actually we have 8 core sectors. What are those 8 core sectors? Ferns 3C, fertilizer, electricity, refineries, natural gas, steel, coal, crude oil and cement. So this crude oil related industries and refineries will be getting affected. So because of that what happens? Overall IIP, index of industrial production will be getting down in our country. So that will be the future impact case. Okay. So whenever if there is any article which is there in news, you have to see what is the background, what is the present, and what is going to be in future, and how it is going to affect. And you have to think like what can be done to minimize this effect. Okay. So in this way, you have to analyze every article. then only you can get multi-dimensional approach related to any article, guys. Clear? Okay, see this next article, guys. Very important article of the day. Literacy helped Kerala lead in development indices, says Murmu. Okay, so which state it is talking about? It is talking about Kerala. And what is the keyword? Literacy. And next one here is development indices. Okay, let me write those keywords. It is talking about Kerala state. It is talking about literacy. It is talking about development indices. Yes or no? Yes, guys, tell me what do you know about this Kerala? First, see the location of Kerala. So here we have this Kerala, right? So Kerala is having coast. Yes or no? Here we have Arabian Sea. So is Kerala is having any problems or any challenges? What are those challenges faced by Kerala geographically? Floods because of cyclones in Arabian Sea, yes. Next, our monsoon winds first hit this coast of Kerala, it will cause heavy rainfall. So because of this heavy rainfall, it causes floods in monsoon season, and even it will having effect because of the cyclones in this Arabian Sea. And next we have what here? Western Ghats. Because of this Western Ghats, Kerala is having problem of landslides. Wayanad landslide was very dreadful last year. So it is also having impact of landslides. And not only that, what is happening now? Climate change is happening. Yes, we'll accept increasing of global warming. Because of that, melting of glacier. Because of that, what is happening? Sea level rise is happening. So because of this, what is happening? Coastal region is inundating underwater. Yes. Apart from that, in this coastal region, what is happening? Coastal degradation, coastal erosion is happening. Yes. And apart from that, last 6 months ago, we discussed lots of articles regarding backwaters. Kerala is very famous for backwaters like Vemanad Lake, everything, right? So what is happening in that lakes? Increased pollution. There is increased pollution in this water bodies, especially in this backwaters. That is in this Vemanad Lake. So these all are the challenges which is mainly facing by the Kerala that we know commonly. But apart from that, inside we have governance issues, lot of the things. But this article is saying that from history onwards, especially from modern history onwards, whenever in India was under rule of Britishers time onwards, even British Governor Generals, Viceroys, especially in this Kerala region, they focused on literacy, guys. And because of this, recently Kerala had declared as the first digital literate state in India. Yes or no? Recently in the month of August only, August September region. So we discussed that Kerala is the first digital literate state in India. So here our president is saying that from history onwards, Kerala focused on improvement of literacy, and there is 100% literacy in this Kerala, right? Okay, so because of this, Kerala is moving towards, Kerala is first in many developmental indices. So now we have to see what are those development indices, and we have to see history of programs of government of Kerala which they focused on literacy that led to the status of first digital literate state in our country, guys. So everything that you have to interlink. So even though it is having lots of problems in Kerala, but even though they are focusing on good developmental indices, how it is possible? So it is possible only through this literacy, guys. And now let us see that clearly. And tell me, guys, now from which subject it is important. Online students, tell me in the comment box. Literacy, where you will study? In governance, education, health. And next one here is society also. Okay. Now let us see this article. President during her address at St. Thomas College in Pala, Kerala, She highlighted that literacy and education has been the foundation of Kerala's leadership in human development indicators. So now you guys tell me, how can we use this article? And in which kind of situations we can use this article as an example? When you're writing any answer regarding education, when you're writing any answer regarding development indicators in our country, can you use this? You can use directly in your introduction that recently Prime President made a statement that Kerala's education and literacy led to the foundation for this development indicators in Kerala. In that way, you can use it, right? So, in that way, wherever it is possible, you have to wisely use this articles, guys. Clear? So, why this statement is given by our president? What are the reasons behind it? It is very important. Please make a note. So actually, if you see the historical roots in social reform movements during this 19th and 20th century itself, especially certain social reformers like Sri Narayana Guru and Ayyankali, they linked education with social emancipation, and they focused on empowering of these backward classes, and they focused on promoting equality. That is the first thing. So from 19th century itself, they are focusing on this education. And you have to remember this guys, Sri Narayana Guru and Ayyankali. And next one is Kerala also launched first India's large scale literacy missions. So because of this, in 1991 itself, Kerala achieved this 100% literacy. Okay, and again becoming the first digitally literate state in 2025. So recently, what are the programs came up by the Kerala government? Akshaya and Digi Kerala. Yes, we discussed that, right? So because of this program, even Kerala got the status of first digitally literate state in our country. And next one here is state also focused on public investment in this universal education, and they focused on public health, local governance, so that they focused on equal and equitable access to social services that led to inclusive growth. And next one here is because of this focus on education that led to upward mobility, that led to increased social participation, and that led to prioritizing of schooling, and that led to low fertility rates, higher gender parity, that is nothing but gender equality, and civic consciousness. So if you want to develop civic sense in the people, which is one of the important factor, or which is one of the important thing which is required to reduce the crime, how can we impart civic sense in the people? Through this education. Education is a weapon. Yes or no? There are many quotes regarding this education. Education is the only weapon that can have the power to change the world. So for that quote, the example here is we can take this Kerala. Okay. So now let us see the impact. So because of this increased literacy, there are lots of human development indicators where Kerala is ahead. The first one here is in its human development index, Kerala's score is 0.78. Okay, it is far better compared to that of upper middle income countries in the world. And especially there is increased life expectancy in this Kerala nowadays 77 years, and female literacy is more than 92%, and there is gender parity or gender equality in this education, and as well as they are very ahead regarding this United Nations Sustainable Development Goals related to health and equality, guys. And next one is digital knowledge. Also, they have 100% digital knowledge. So recently, Kerala government had been announced that it is a digital literate state in our country, and because of this digital literacy now, everyone can able to use different applications in the mobile. So it will be very helpful for e-governance, entrepreneurship, and financial inclusion. Okay, and next one here is it will be also very helpful for social equity as well. So that is the thing which mainly said, and you have to remember this article for sure, guys. Now let us see the next image. So here you can see the image. What can you see in this image? Two people are rowing boat. What is there in that boat? Paddy. So they are taking paddy on this boat. Actually, that paddy is belonging to this one special species called as Pokkali paddy. Please make a note, Pokkali paddy. Pokkali, Pokkali paddy. And this article is important from your GS paper 3, where you'll be studying about intellectual property rights. In that, you'll be studying about GI tag, that is geographical indication tag. And paddy, if the crops coming in the paper means you have to know regarding that crops from geography point of view. In geography, you have this chapter called as agriculture, right? Okay, so if you see certain facts regarding this Pokali rice is a saline tolerant. Okay, that means this crop can be grown in saline water and it is indigenous rice variety grown in Alappuzha. Alappuzha is nothing but Alapi, Thrissur, Ernakulam districts of Kerala. And this rice species is lesser known rice variety. In especially it is grown in coastal areas only and they follow oldest organic farming techniques to produce this. Okay, and actually this pokali is cultivated with no fertilizers or chemicals or any organic because they are grown in waterlogged areas, and it is very famous for medicinal qualities and they have a peculiar taste. It has high protein and fiber content. Normally which component is more in rice? Carbohydrates it's more, right? But in this rice they have protein. That is the specialty of this pokali rice. So because of this it got GI tag in year 2008 only. Okay, now let us see the next article. See the title, guys. India Bhutan review security cooperation border management. So what is this article talking about? Huh? India Bhutan relations, right? So this article is talking about India Bhutan relations. From which subject we can see this, guys? Online students, tell me. From GS paper to under IR. So where is the location of Bhutan is? Are we sharing boundary? Yes. Okay. If you draw the map here. So here this part is Bhutan, right? Here this is our Bhutan. Tell me, guys, Bhutan is friendly nation for India or like enemy nation? Friendly or enemy nation? Are we helping Bhutan? So how we are helping Bhutan, or can you tell me like in which areas you are having cooperation between India and Bhutan? Think, guys, you can do it. See the location, it is landlocked. Do this Bhutan have any boundary with any ocean or sea? So that kind of countries are called as landlocked countries. Bhutan is a landlocked country. Then tell me, guys, now how this Bhutan can do trade with other countries. So Bhutan has to take ultimately help of India to reach this sea, Bay of Bengal, and it can do the trade. Okay, and next one here is, do you know the borders between India and Bhutan are porous? Porous means which allows easy movement of people between these two countries. So there is no need of passport or visa to travel, so that we can enhance people to people ties and as well as increase the trade between India and Bhutan. So first of all, here you have to see the title. What is what is this title saying? That India Bhutan review security cooperation border management. So this article is focusing on border management between this India and Bhutan. So whenever we are talking about this border management, there we have to think that if we have challenges, then only we'll focus on this border management, right? If you have any problem, then only we'll think about that problem. If there is no problem, unless and until the problem comes, we won't think about that. Yes. So first of all, you have to see what are the problems between India and Bhutan. There are nothing but challenges between India and Bhutan border. And next you have to see what is the present context, what we are going to see. And next you have to see what is the impact of this present context. And apart from this, you have to see some basic facts regarding India-Bhutan relations, like when we started our formal relations, history, and next you have to see areas of cooperation, in which areas India and Bhutan are cooperating. So these three things are related to this present articles, and you have to do work on this, like history and areas of cooperation between India and Bhutan, guys. Okay, this article is important from your international relations. Now let us see the context. India and Bhutan recently reviewed their security cooperation border management during 14th India-Bhutan meeting on border management and security. So now we are having this meeting, 14th meeting related to what? Border management and security, guys. So if you see the first thing, like what are the challenges between India and Bhutan border? So as I said, we have porous borders. Porous border means nothing but easy movement of people happens between these two countries without passport and visa. So whenever we are allowing the free movement of people, what happens? It will lead to illegal trade, poaching of animals, yes, smuggling, especially smuggling of timber, tobacco, and wildlife products is happening. So this is a big challenge between India and Bhutan. And second one is mobile signal spillover. So actually Bhutan, if you see the location, what we have in that region, Himalayas. So because of Himalayas, what happened? We have rugged topography. We have hills, we have mountains, especially these Himalayas are covered by ice. So because of this, what happened is there will be always persistent technical and diplomatic issues related to mobile signals. Actually, what India do is Indian telecom signals will extend to Bhutan territory. So actually, compared to that of Bhutan's telecom industries, Indian telecom industries are like advanced. So what happens here is, if you are extending this Indian telecom signals to Bhutanese territory, so Bhutan people will purchase Indian telecoms. Okay, for example, Airtel, like that, they will purchase our India related telecom industry services. They will not purchase their Bhutan telecom services. So because of this, what happens? There is a loss of revenue for the Bhutan country regarding this telecom. So this is also second issue. So Bhutan has said, please don't extend your services in Bhutan. This is also second important problem. And third one is cross-border smuggling and illegal trade of wildlife. Especially Bhutan is very, very rich in forest. Especially Bhutan is very rich in this forest. So because of this, wildlife trafficking is happening between Bhutan, India, and as well as Bhutan, China. Especially endangered species like tiger, leopards, and timber smuggling is happening from Royal Manas National Park region. Okay, so that is the next problem. And next one here is security and logistic issues. Okay, and next one is environmental and geostrategic concerns. So actually, Bhutan is a Himalayan country. So as you all know that climate change is happening because of this climate change, melting of glaciers, melting of Himalayas, right? And even there is an increased risk of landslides, earthquakes in this Himalayan region. So because of this environmentally also, there are certain issues between India and Bhutan, guys. So these are the challenges. Now let us see what is that meet is about and what were the highlights of this meet. So actually key agenda of this meet is first one is mobile signal spillover. So here Bhutan is asking that please India don't extend your telecom services to Bhutan because we are losing lots of revenue and even people are losing trust in telecom of Bhutan. That is the first thing they talked. And next one is to mainly prevent this kind of illegal smuggling, trading, etc. They want to come up with integrated check post. And next one is they have to maintain proper boundary also. And next one here is they also focused on capacity building initiatives for Bhutan police forces. So whatever the advanced technology that we are using in our Indian police, so we can go for sharing of the technologies. And next one here is India is also providing support for Bhutan's internal security infrastructure. For example, roadways, railways, construction, because it is having rugged topography. Topography is not at all stable in this Bhutan. So in that difficult terrain, if you want to go for infrastructure development, it will be like a very challenging. But India is also having that kind of experience of building of roads, infrastructure in this Himalayan states also. We can also share same kind of technology advancements with this Bhutan. So these are the highlights of this meet, guys. Clear? Okay, now let us see the next article. See the title, synthetic media. So what is happening now because of easy available of AI tools, artificial intelligence? Examples, ChatGPT, Gemini AI, Perplexity Pro, like that. We have lots of AI tools. So by using that, now it is within seconds, within minutes, we are generating videos and as well as images and content, and we are posting in our social media platforms. So if you see certain videos, they will be like very, very realistic. We can't distinguish even whether it is real or fake. So what happens in yesterday's class, we discussed there will be WhatsApp group people, WhatsApp aunties, uncles. So they will believe whatever which comes in this WhatsApp or social media platforms true. So if there is no awareness whether that content or image or that video is fake or like original, then what happens, that will create chaos in the society. And even because of this deep fakes, morphing of images, morphing of videos by using synthetic voices, if you are creating any videos, then what happens? That will also leads to reducing of reputation of certain personalities. Yes or no? Reputation loss. So because of this, now our government is not going to tolerate this kind of mess. So because of this, it came up with new rules under IT, Information Technology Rules of 2021, and it came up with certain mandatory guidelines. So if any user who is posting any image or video or any content in social media platforms, 10 percentage of space they have to use to write it is AI generated. And if you're posting any video, first 10 seconds of video should be like this you have to give a disclaimer, this video is generated by using AI, so that what happens, users they can spot this and they can identify this is AI generated, so that they will be getting awareness about whether that content is original or AI generated. So because of this, what happens, there will be decreased spread of misinformation, disinformation, fake videos, fake news in social media, guys, so that what happens, we can maintain law and order. Okay, so that is about this article. Clear? So this article is important from your GS paper to under governance. Okay, our Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has proposed amendments to Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. Simply, you have to remember IT Rules 2021. We can't remember that big name, I know. Okay, so it is mainly focusing on improving of data security and privacy in social media. So what are the amendments? The first one is the information, if it is artificially or algorithmically created, generated or modified by using any computer resource, we have to label it. Okay, whether it is real content or AI generated. And second one is content creators must clearly label all AI generated or modified content before upload. They have to use 10% of space for showcasing that. And next one here is even they are giving mandatory rules for even social media platforms to make the proper declaration, to take the declaration from the people. So if they're not taking declaration, they are accountable. Okay. And why we came up with this kind of amendments? Because there is increasing of security risk because of this deep fakes, that is morphing of images, morphing of videos using synthetic audio. That led to propaganda of anti-national information, that also leads to terrorist recruitment, etc. And there is also increasing of misinformation, especially it is manipulating public opinion during elections. Yes or no? And next one here is gender-based harms. Deepfakes frequently targets women. So because of this, what is happening here? Gender-based discrimination, which is against fundamental rights. And next one is defamation. What is defamation? Loss of reputation, name, and fame. Okay, that is also happening because of this. Yes, we have to control that. Next one is fraud and impersonation. It enables identity theft, financial scams, social engineering attacks, etc. So because of all these threats, now we want to control this AI generated information for sure. Now government is showing zero tolerance towards this. And let us see the next article. See the title, guys. The United Nations matters as a symbol of responsibility. So here you have to see what is this United Nations. So why it formed, when it formed, and now we are celebrating 80 years of United Nations. What are the success in these 80 years? What are the challenges it is facing? So you have to see all those things, and you may get a question regarding this United Nations in mains case. Okay, now let us see here. United Nations marked its 80th anniversary in 2025, which reflects it is having like a long history of promoting peace, security, human rights, and sustainable development across worldwide. So when it was formed in year 1945, after end of World War II, we came up with this organization, guys. For what? To prevent future global conflicts and to stop future world wars and to promote international peace, security, safety, cooperation between the nations. So these are the important aims and objectives of this United Nations. Okay, and if you see the achievements, the first one is whenever it was formed, it was like 51 membered body, but now it is almost 193 membered body. It is the largest body, and after that, the second largest is NAM, non-alignment movement, and actually it played a pivotal role in peacekeeping. There are around 67,500 peacekeepers across the world, and India is the largest contributors of this peacekeeping in the world, guys. And this one here is United Nations contributed significantly humanitarian aid. So if any countries who are in warlike conditions, if they are facing any disasters, if they are facing any problems, so here United Nations will be providing funds. So around 139 million people they were came out of the crisis. How? United Nations provided food, and especially during this COVID-19 they provided vaccines and health services across 120 countries. And next one is it established international norms and frameworks. For example, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it also came up with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to fight against climate change. Okay, and United Nations is also coordinated with the global actions like climate change, public health, disarmament, humanitarian engagements. So in all these areas, also United Nations is working with. So what are the challenges? If you want to do all this, first we need paisa, money. So actually it is having financial crisis. And second problem here is geopolitical issues are going on. Russia-Ukraine crisis, Gaza-Israel issue. In many countries, increasing of terrorism, increased internal conflicts. So because of this, with full potential, United Nations is working. And next one here is there is overload of mandates and even it is also facing inefficiencies in its organizations. And next one is increasing of global conflicts and pandemics. So because of this, they are also facing multifaceted challenges. And there is also increasing of trust deficit in multilateralism. Okay, so these are the all challenges that is faced by this United Nations. Just remember when it was formed and what are the objectives, what are the success things which happened in this last 80 years. Challenges you'll obviously remember the challenges. Challenges will be not a problem for you guys. So just you have to see what are the things that made United Nations success. Okay, there is one more article, guys. See this title: How monsoons affect Tamil Nadu. So, if you see today's newspaper, most of the articles covered in our Hindu newspaper are related to this floods in Tamil Nadu. So, in our earlier classes, I said about what is southwest monsoon and what is northeast monsoon, right? So, actually, monsoon is nothing but the meaning of monsoon is seasonal reversal of winds. So, during summer season, ITC shifts towards northwards, and during winter season, the same ITC will shift towards southwards. So because of this, what happens? The reversal movement of winds happens. So always winds move from high pressure to low pressure. So wherever we have this ITC, what happens? Okay. So if you take this as Earth, this is equator. Normally during equinox condition, ITC, that is low pressure, will be formed at equator. But what happened during summer season? The same ITC, I'll change the color of pen, will be moving towards north. Now here we have low pressure. In winter season, what happened? Same ITC will move towards south. Now we have low pressure here. So normally during summer season in India, what happens? ITCZ will be moving towards northwards. Because of that, this low pressure area is formed over India. That will leads to the attracting of winds from high pressure towards low pressure. So this causes southwest monsoons. And what happens in this winter season? The same ITCZ will be shifting towards southwards. Now here low pressure will be formed. So from here winds will be moving in this direction. So this causes northeast monsoons. Now, especially this northeast monsoon seen in the month of October and November. So in this October and November month also, we can see rainfall in our country because of this northeastern monsoons. So yesterday, day before yesterday, we are having this rainfall in Hyderabad, right? So it is because of this northeastern monsoons. Now, especially because of this northeastern monsoons, because of this northeastern monsoons, whenever the winds are coming in this direction, so this Tamil Nadu will be getting affected most. So because of this, now Tamil Nadu is receiving heavy rainfall that is causing floods like conditions in this Tamil Nadu, guys. So if you see this article, so if you see this gist, it is saying that northeast monsoon has arrived at least 4 days earlier. So this time the monsoon is earlier. So because of this, is northeast monsoon is also 4 days earlier. That led to bringing of heavy rainfall that is expected to exceed long-term average period. And this time there is very heavy rainfall because of this northeastern monsoons in Tamil Nadu. So because of this excess rain, that led to water logging of farmlands, straining of infrastructure, and especially flooded water is heavy in this Mullaperiyar dam. So this dam is very very important actually, because it will absorb more heavy flooded water in this Tamil Nadu region. Now there is increased flow of water in this dam. So whenever there is increased water in dam, what happens? We can't go for filling of entire dam. We have to go for maintain certain water level. If you want to maintain certain water level, we have to open the gates. So if you are opening the gates, what happens? The low-lying areas will be getting floods because of this. Okay, now this article is saying that waterlogged soil, overflowing of rivers, stagnant water which creates crop damage, and even whenever waterlogging is happening, whenever flooded water is coming into homes, what happens? That will lead to contamination of water, contamination of food, that will lead to spread of infectious diseases. So because of this infectious diseases, that will lead to health hazards. And even they are saying that there is threat to buildings, roads, public safety, and this article is saying that how can we fight against the situation. So if you're district collector in this Tamil Nadu, for suppose you got a posting in this northeastern monsoon, now northeastern monsoon will be like very very difficult situation for this district collectors to manage this kind of floods. So think properly, guys. So if you are district collector in that area, so how you can manage this kind of situations. Online students who are from Tamil Nadu, please let me know what can you do to control this kind of situation in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so these are the important articles that happened in our today's Hindi newspaper, guys. And guys, tomorrow we are going to have orientation session on this ethics at 5 p.m. You can come to institute, which is located in Ashok Nagar, exactly above Vikas Book Center, or else you can join on online, guys. So if you want to get the link of that class, so please do register. Registration form link is given in description box. Don't forget, guys. And we are going to launch new batch from tomorrow itself, guys. So if you want to take online or offline admission, please hurry up and take admission as soon as possible. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And please do like this class and share this class. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathod Science Academy. And you can follow us on our Telegram channel, where we are providing the notes of this class. And even you can follow us on Instagram, where we are providing prelims question with answer, mains question with model answer, and also current affairs in shorts. And nowadays we are also trying to provide a short YouTube short videos on important current affairs in both English and Telugu. English videos will be posted in English channel, and Telugu videos will be posted in Telugu channel. You can follow us on both channels, guys. Thank you so much, guys.